morning. Hello, hello. So I am trying to do my live a little bit differently today. Trying to make sure you guys can see me. Welcome back. I feel like the camera's a little bit tilted. Hold on. Hello all. Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Miss Ruby. Welcome to another episode of Morning Tea Talk with me. I know I missed yesterday's. I'm really sorry. I just got back in town. I was out of town for a family getaway, and yesterday I was literally like getting off the plane and getting into our car and everything, so I just wasn't able to go live. And Sunday was Sunday. I typically do these lives weekday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes I'll sprinkle in on Saturdays. Doing this for the entire month of November. I can't believe today's already November 20th, which means I will only be doing this for about 10 more days. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been joining me for these morning tea talks up until this point. And we're going to get started right now. As you guys can see, the title of this video is Just Say No. We're digging in deep today, okay? So get your tea ready. I am drinking some lemon and ginger tea in my Mrs. Always Right mug. I actually want to do a topic where I talk about how, you may not always be right. I want to talk about specifically listening. So that's probably going to be my subject for tomorrow's video. Aimed at the people, myself specifically, who tend to always think that we're right, and talking about, how we can actually be better listeners. But today we're going to talk about saying no. And what does that mean? So, one second. I'm going to adjust my camera just a little bit. 1 second. I feel like this is just better. Like, I know the quality is worse, but I think this is better because I can actually see when you guys send messages and all of that. Okay, so I just want to get some things off my chest, okay? I just had a family getaway, and a lot of things transpired. We did an early Thanksgiving, basically, at my sister's house, and a lot of things transpired that really just opened me up to some things that I need to accept. And it's funny that today's daily devotion is about saying no. So I wanted to read you guys from this daily devotion, and you guys tell me what you guys think about this, and I'm going to give you guys some of my personal examples and experiences why I support this notion to begin to say no. So for those of you who don't know, I am reading the daily devotion by Iyanla Van Zant. And for November 20th, it says, "The greatest service I can offer is not engaging in crimes against myself. You cannot be useful to yourself, others, or God if you run yourself ragged. Many of us believe that in order to be useful, helpful, or in service, we must give our all to all of the time. We become yes people. We say yes when we are tired. Yes when we are busy doing other things. We say yes when we know there's no way we can take on anything else. You may believe that in order to be worthy of love, admiration, or respect of others, you must always say yes. What you may not understand is that there are times when saying yes causes you to make unnecessary sacrifices. There's a passage in A Course in Miracles that says, giving of yourself to the point of sacrifice makes the other person a thief. When you allow others to take what you need, what you have earned, what you deserve, you are making a sacrifice. When you sacrifice, you're not giving freely, nor are you serving others when you give to your detriment. In addition, when you give to your own detriment, you become resentful. You resent yourself and you resent the one who has received. Resentment is a clear-cut path to anger and unworthiness. In order to serve others, support others, give to others, you must first be able to serve, support, and give to yourself. You must be willing to share your overflow, not your necessities. This is called self-support, self-care, and self-love. Until today, you may not have realized that you have allowed others to be involved in a crime against you. You may have allowed them to support you in sacrificing yourself and believing that you were helping or serving them. Just for today, don't be a yes person. Take care of yourself. Don't give what you don't have or what you need. Be self-supportive and self-loving enough to say no. Today I'm devoted to not making unnecessary sacrifices. Today I am willing to say no. I thought that this topic was just so fitting because I had some stuff I was going to talk to y'all about anyway along the same lines. Hey to everybody who's saying anything. I'm glad that you guys are listening. Oh, I accidentally. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Somebody just say yes if you guys can still hear me. And if nobody types yes, then I'm going to assume you can't hear me. Hi, Karina. Hi to everybody who's here. Hello, hello, hello. What y'all drinking today? Okay, yes, you can hear me. Awesome. So let me tell y'all how. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong place. Let me tell you how I had a real moment with this truth this past weekend visiting my family. So I went to go visit my sister. She's military. She's very on time, very like, and just is always just can't sit still. And so she, you know, we're doing things. It was a nice time, you know, but there was one of the events that everybody was getting ready to go to. Are you drinking coffee? That's what's up. I'm drinking tea. So there was one event that everyone's getting ready to go to, and my daughter had just had like a poop explosion blowout at the gym. We had went, and I just felt a little overwhelmed internally in terms of knowing that I needed to get her cleaned up properly and I needed to get her things cleaned out properly. And I just wanted to catch my breath. We had just gotten in town like the day before, and I just wanted to get some things straightened up. So I've been taking life a lot slower than I usually do, because usually I could keep up with my sister and her fast pace, everything. But on a personal level, I've just been taking life a little slower. And so I opted not to go to this event everyone was getting ready to go to. And I know that they would have preferred me to go with them. But I knew that for myself, if I went, I was probably going to resent going, because I was only going to be preoccupied with all of the things I really wanted to do back at the house. And there was no assurance of what time we were going to be getting home. So I was just like, you know what? I know that I may get looked down upon, maybe not. I also know that I may be a disappointment for not going, because this is a family trip. We only have a few days together, and missing one event is kind of big. But I also knew that if I went, it was probably going to be worse on me personally. And I've seen other people, my husband, for example, who say no all the time when things are going to be too much for them. And people don't hate them. But for some reason, I always have had this complex that if I say no, not necessarily just the act of saying no, but when someone really wants me to be involved in something, or someone really needs something from me, and I'm technically capable of doing it, I think that if I say no, then I'm like, you know, disappointing them. And I don't want to be a disappointment, because I feel like life is full of disappointments, things that are just outside of our control. And if there's ever anything that I can do, especially with my friends and my family, but not even just there, if there's ever anything I can do for anyone, and I know I technically can do it, I like to do it. I like to live a life of service. God has blessed me to be able to give, and I like that. But now that I'm a mom and sleep is limited, my brain's always foggy, I don't know, I just find that sometimes the giving feels like a bit much. And I've felt those feelings of resentment. You know, I felt what it feels like to sacrifice and then feel undervalued as a result. I've never really felt like, oh, I'm giving to you, so you need to give back to me. I've never really felt like that. I really do enjoy giving my time, my money, whatever it is. If I feel like I have it and it's blessing you, I know that God always restores everything that I give. So it's not so much resentment in terms of, oh, I gave you $100 and you only gave me $20. It's just like, okay, if I make this sacrifice and I come, you know, let's have a good time. Let's not get in an argument. Like, you know, that's the kind of thing that makes me just like, what was the point of me sacrificing my peace just to end up in chaos? Like, I should have just kept my peace, you know what I'm saying? And then maybe you would have kept your peace and we'd both be happier. But because you can't always control those things, you don't always know what the outcome's going to be. You don't always know if giving to someone is going to yield you a return at all or not. You don't always know if it's going to yield you something worse in return than if you wouldn't have given at all. And what I mean by giving, I mean time, mental energy, friendship, favors, money, everything, giving it everything. So because I've been learning that lesson, then I'm starting to practice saying no. And I'm so happy that I did say no, because they ended up being gone longer than I expected. I was able to get so much done while they were gone on a personal level. And then they came back and it wasn't even a huge deal. And I was able to go to the next event the next day, which was very similar. My husband and her fiance, they fly aircraft for the United States Air Force, and it's a big deal to go watch them fly. So one of the days, the one I missed, was watching my sister's fiance land an aircraft. The next day, though, I was able to watch him fly really fast over the football field at this game that we went to. So anyway, it all worked out. But what I really want to talk about, too, is the very next day when we were getting ready to go to this football game. My sister and I were getting ready, and she was like really flustered because she was running late, and she has a baby as well. And I won't give you the ins and outs of the whole like issue that we encountered, but what I will say is that ultimately I feel like her unwillingness to just say no, her unwillingness or disinterest in just taking time to get herself together, led to a huge blowout. She was really stressed. She felt like nobody was helping her. She felt like, you know, she was just doing it all on her own, and she didn't know how she was going to get it done in time. And I remember like telling her, like, why don't you just ask for help? That led to this big argument, like huge argument. Like she was like cussing me out, y'all. It was like reality TV. And I'm just looking at her like, you know, like I said, I won't give you the ins and outs or whatever because it's family business. But what I will say is that on the drive to the event, I just thought about it. Like, why didn't she just stay home? Like, if it was going to lead to all this stress for you to come to this event, why not just stay home? And so I want to talk to you guys about that. How do you feel about saying no? Because maybe my sister just didn't want to say no, whether it was saying no to her desire to come or saying no to the invitation she received to come to this event. But ultimately, I feel like her saying yes led to more stress than she could handle because she had a big blowout. And I want to advise you guys, if you are listening to me at all, to really evaluate those things in your life. Ask yourself, can you say no? Because a lot of times we can say no to things that we don't think we have permission to say no to. But realize that nobody is giving you permission except for yourself. That God does commission us to give all the time and to give, but when we give, to give freely, to give with an actual generous heart. Like, you know, I don't remember verbatim what it says, but I know that, oh, God loves a cheerful giver. Oftentimes we're so focused on giving, thinking, oh, let's live a life of self-sacrifice, that we don't remember that he says he loves a cheerful giver. And if you're not giving cheerfully, then you're not really pleasing him. You know what I'm saying? And you can see the fruits of that in your actual life when you see that when you give more than you can actually handle giving with a cheerful heart, oftentimes it leads to dismay. It leads to discomfort. It leads to just chaos. You know what I'm saying? Internally, when you implode, externally, when things explode around you. And I got to see that front and center, clear as day this weekend. I got to see both instances, how they play out. I get to see it all the time with the few people in my life that are comfortable saying no. But most of us are not comfortable saying no, and so we're walking around full of stress. So tell me some things that you guys feel like you have been struggling with saying no to. Let's talk about that for the last couple minutes. Let me see what somebody has sent already. I have a hard time saying no. Saying no. Hold on. Let me readjust this camera. Okay. Oh. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I like messed up the camera. I have a hard time saying no, but I can say that it is getting better. Family. Yeah, girl. Okay, family. Yes. When I was pregnant, I learned that I had to say no a lot. And the thing about me is I don't really be wanting to say no. You know, like I be wanting to really say yes. Like in my heart, I feel like as long as I have everything that I really need in terms of like food, shelter, you know, and I'm really enjoying and appreciating the blessings that God has given me, then I feel like whatever I have in excess, I don't mind giving. But my problem is, well, my problem in the past had been a lack of, you know, being able to really make correct judgment about what is extra. So I had learned not to really give more of my money than I could afford. I've been good at that for a while, not to really give more. I guess that's the only thing, because everything else I give more than I can afford. Like time, I'll try to squeeze everything in. And I talked to you guys about that before, about managing your time better. Realizing that if you know, sometimes you just don't have time for everything. And that's okay. Because it really resonates with me when people say things like what they said in this daily devotion. Like, you know, once you give to the point of self-sacrifice, then it's almost like you're allowing that person to steal from you. And everybody's not really trying to steal from you, but when you give more time, like you take in more classes than you can actually manage. I see people do all the time in college. Like, you want to get done so quickly that you take more classes than you can actually manage. You take on more than you can handle, and then next thing you know, you're depleted. You shouldn't be depleted. Your cup should be running over. You should be full. You know, it's kind of like trying to drive a car on E. First, you need to have some gas in your tank before you can be driving everybody else around. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to have something filling you up. And God restores daily. God fills you up. You'd be surprised when you take a step back and look. You see that He gives you everything that you need. We are the ones that mismanage that. We mismanage our time, our money, ourselves. But I don't think it's so much an issue of, is God giving you everything you need? I think it's more of an issue of you giving more of what God has given you than He has called you to. I think that we should take it as an indication of what God is calling us to give when we have a cheerful heart when giving it. So if you're a little confused about, well, how do I know when to stop giving my time, my money, my resources? Well, ask yourself every opportunity you get to give. When someone asks you, invites you to be a part of something, whether they're asking you, hey, can you be my bridesmaid? Hey, can you watch my kids? Hey, can you loan me this money? Ask yourself, if I do this, can I do it with a cheerful heart? Do I technically have the time, the resources to get it done, and the emotional capacity to handle it? And then that'll give you your answer. Your answer may be a disappointment to you because maybe you wanted to be involved in the wedding, but maybe you realize that it's going to wreak more havoc than it is going to wreak happiness. And that's an indication that you should probably say no. And you'll find that saying no doesn't take away as much from you or the other person as you probably presumed it would. So let's see. I have a hard time saying no when it comes to my goddaughter. I love her to death and don't mind keeping her, but I do have 2 daughters of my own, and I feel like her parents could be there a bit more. Hey, cousin. Hey, Brandis. I will say no with the quickness. If I'm able, I will do what I can. I have 3 work-from-home jobs now, and I must admit I am more of a homebody. Girl, Brandis, I feel you. And you know what I notice about people who seem to have pretty happy and pretty balanced lives? They're oftentimes really good at saying no. So I'm not surprised that you are pretty good at saying no, Brandis, because you don't seem like somebody from the outside looking in. You don't really seem like somebody who overexerts herself. And you seem to always have a smile on your face and to be pretty balanced. And that's the kind of life that I want to live. Going back up to Crystal, what I will say is one of the things about saying no in situations like that is it forces other people to step up and say yes. And a lot of times people are not saying yes as much as they need to. And I think being a yes person, we feel, I do this all the time. I feel like, you know what? If she's going to say no, he's going to say no. And he's going to say no, I'm at least going to be the one who says yes. We try to make up. But while that feels good in the moment, like say, for instance, nobody else in the family is willing to help with your goddaughter, and you're like, well, I want to at least be there for her because you love her. Well, then you're never requiring them to step up and do more, because some of us need to do less, but some of us need to do more. And so you'll find that sometimes when you do say no to watching and keeping your goddaughter, the parents have to figure out how to make it happen without you. And a lot of times that just makes them better people. And if they resent you for it, that resentment should only be temporary if they really love you. And if the resentment is not temporary and it's long-lasting, then understand that that's not real love. And honestly, as much as you want to appease people and please people, you also don't want to live a lifetime with these people only to wake up 20 years later and realize they never really loved you. That is going to hurt a lot worse than saying no is going to feel right now. Because when you really love someone, you know that your no is not, no, I don't love you. Your no is, no, because I do love you. And because I do love you, I have to love myself as well, and I have to take care of myself. And the only way I can ever truly be of aid to you is to take care of myself first. And then you'll always be available. And then when they really, really need you, you'll be available. But what if you burn yourself out trying to say yes to them every time they ask you to watch her? And then when they really, really, really need somebody, you're not available because either you're resenting them and you're like, no, I can't do this anymore. Or you truly have burnt yourself out and you just can't. And I talk to people about this in my personal life all the time, you know, who say yes, 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 yes too much. And the next thing you know, they throw their hands up. I would rather you say no to me so that when I really need you, there's not a big blowout. It sucks to see people who just blow up and just lose their cool and can't take any more because they did way more than they ever should have done to begin with. If we could all live balanced lives, I think we'd all be much better service to one another and much happier internally because we won't be expecting other people to fill us up. We'll have seen that God has already filled us up. We gave whatever God gave us in excess to give. We're not depleted, and anything else that you couldn't give, like maybe I didn't have enough to fill that person's cup up, I just had enough to give them a sip, you'll see that God is doing enough for them, and you don't need to do it for him. He's doing it. He's sending other people to their aid. He's helping to restore them personally. He's teaching them how to take better responsibility for themselves. So I know I'm going in, but that just made me think of all that. Tasha, I want to say no, but I keep saying yes when it comes to letting my sister live with me, and it costs me my peace and my quiet because now she has a grandson and he's only 3 or 4 running around. Tasha, I run into people in situations like that all the time, and I always say the same thing. Like, you know, same thing that I just got through saying to Crystal. The more that you coddle and the more that you say yes, even when it's to your detriment, even when your yes is really saying no to yourself and so many of your needs, the more that you continue to do that, the less opportunity you're giving that person or those people to learn on their own. We're always trying to play God, but God never asked us to play God. He didn't, you know, so we have to remember that. He did commission us to enjoy our lives, though, that everything that we could possibly consider doing on this earth is vain, regardless of how noble it seems. It's all a striving after the wind. It's all just keeping busy. Whether you're an astronaut, whether you're saving the world with medicine, or you think you are, or whether you think you're saving your family, everything that you do is in vain in some way, shape, or form, because our vanity, even when we consider ourselves noble, our vanity is in the unwillingness to accept that we are not God. Our vanity is in the acting as if we are God, acting as if it has to be us to save that person, us to save the world. It is our vain attempt to be God, in a sense. And so we have to realize that it's okay to say no. It's not taking away anything from God's kingdom to say no when it's responsible. Saying no when it's selfish, that's a different thing. But our issue is not selfishness. Our issue is being unwilling to truly love ourselves and receive God's love and accept all that God has blessed us with because we feel like we have to give it all away. Yes, we should give a lot, but never should we give it all. If that's the case, why would God give it to us? Crystal, you're absolutely right, and my husband tells me that all the time. I'm really kind of burnt out because I keep her 5 days a week. I think I'm going to tell her mom that I need at least 2 days off. Thanks. I hope that works out for you, Crystal. Trust me, girl. I know what it's like to be in your shoes, and I have learned. Slowly but surely. Start off doing one task. You ask her for the 2 days a week. That's a start. Just don't worry. Trust God in it. Pray, put it in God's hands, and it'll all work out. Trust me. I have a house full of grown-ups, not kids. I feel like my house is a shelter. Not saying no, got my house full. Okay, Lasia, is that how I say your name? See that all the time. People end up getting burnt out in those situations. Next thing you know, you're making everybody leave all at once. When really, right now, you could probably start off just by asking one of them to leave. Like, really, for real. And I look at the people who I've had to say no to over the course of my time, who I've had to, like, build up that strength to say no to. And I look at them, and they just going around hopping from house to house, taking away from everybody else. It's like, so had I said yes to them, like these other people are saying yes to them, they wouldn't have changed. wouldn't have changed my life for the better. It wouldn't have changed their life for the better. But the more that people are beginning to say no to them, I'm noticing that these people are having to learn how to do better on their own. Trust me, we are survivors. We are human beings. We were created to survive on this earth. God built us with the innate desire to survive. So, I know a lot of times we don't want to see people homeless. We don't want to see them struggling. It's one thing when you see somebody trying their hardest, doing the very best they can, and just need a little pick-me-up. And it's another thing when you see people not trying at all, or not trying nearly enough, and just using your handouts and taking your kindness for weakness. Those are two very different things. You need to get really good at identifying those things, or else you will always be the one being, quote-unquote, taken advantage of. You'll always be the one getting got, and you will develop so many resentments, and there will be nobody here for your pity party, because you always had a choice in the matter too. And that's ultimately what this video is about, is helping us to be comfortable with saying no, with just saying no, and understanding that it's okay. And if you don't get good at saying no, it's nobody's fault but your own, sadly. So that's my piece. Hello to everybody. Good morning, good morning. Thank you guys. Brandy, just go back and watch the video. I'm going to post it right now. I got to go because I've given enough of my time for today, and I got to get to the rest of my tasks. Thank you guys for joining me, for sharing this video, for giving your insight, for commenting on future videos, commenting, letting me know your thoughts. Yeah. Thank you guys for your patience. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.